Today we're going to begin to talk about spoken accountability, that we as believers are accountable for what we say. And the first thing I want to talk about is something that it says in the book of Revelation. In Revelation 22, verse 6, it says, "And he said unto them, These sayings are faithful and true. And the Lord God of the holy prophets sent his angel to show unto his servants the things which must shortly be done." Now this sounds a lot like Revelation 1:1, or at least part of it, the verse, the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John. Now the interesting thing is that both come to pass and must be done come from the same Greek word. And that word means it must become. It must come to pass. It must be done. It must be accomplished. It must be fulfilled. So the idea is that you need to do this. It's not talking necessarily about something that's going to happen shortly, 2,000 years later, but it's talking, John is talking to the churches about what they have to do for a particular reason. There were several persecutions that had been happening in John's day. If he wrote this in 95, as some scholars believe, then there were 2 or 3 Roman persecutions that had happened. If it's in 65, there was at least one, which was Nero, and several local persecutions that were happening. So regardless of that, John was faced with the issue of how do we deal with the great persecutions in the Spirit. Just as the prophecies of old told us what to do to return to God, this book tells us how to come back to God, how to walk away from the evil and solidify our own spiritual walk, because Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. Okay, and we must understand that every single prophecy in the Bible is about Jesus. And in Revelation, this prophecy that it talks about is about how to come back to Jesus, to God. It says that in that time they had many persecutions, and we must understand that the adversary that we face, like the one they face, the same adversary, is not a resting lion. It's not fat and happy and laying down. It's a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour, which means he's on the hunt. He's always on the hunt. He's relentless. He's cunning. He's indomitable. The strongest creature on the plain is an ever-present fear to the animals of the jungle or of the savannah. And just as our adversary is an ever-present fear to believers, or that's what he wants us to believe. He will incite men against us. He will incite wars amongst us to bring us out of unity where we can't be blessed. He wants to devour us, and he will do whatever's necessary to take out our witness. In Deuteronomy, Moses says something very interesting. It's in 31, and in 19 through 21, Moses doesn't say here, if it shall come to pass that they turn unto other gods, then, etc., and follow them and do all these things. What it does say is that, but rather, they will turn to other gods. Then will they turn to other gods. So it's not an if my people, and many of the verses are, if my people turn away, then this will happen. This one says that they will turn away. And just with us, in our victories, we turn our attention away from God, from worshiping God, and allow other things to take his place. The adversary is always waiting to take advantage of this. He distracts us, he attacks us, he does whatever he can to get our idea and our mind out of worshiping God. Revelation is a war manual that teaches us how to thwart the enemy's tactics and live in constant renewal and revival. We have to look at Revelation that way if it's going to become a utilitarian model or thing for us to use as a guide in how to fight against evil.